Mystery is the restlessness in the relationship between nothing and something. It's an indistinguishable figure in the distance. It's the magnetic energy of a question, the elusiveness of the answer. It's sustained, controlled anticipation. It's a little bit scary, but isn't it exciting? Mystery activates the part of our brain that rushes in to fill the gaps in our understanding. It teases our desire to comprehend what we perceive by providing some, but not all, of the context. It's that liminal zone that connects us to a most unsettling yet primally familiar place, the unknown. But something about the unknown feels active, approaching, encroaching in a way that doesn't feel served by being a noun. Nouns are definitive. They are things, objects which act or are acted upon. The unknown feels like more than a place, or perhaps less. It feels unresolved, in motion. It feels like a verb. Unknowing is listed in the dictionary as an adjective, defined as not knowing. In a sentence, she had unknowingly doomed herself. But what if it was a verb? What if to unknow was the inverse of to know? To exist in a void, like a black hole, constantly pulling you deeper, propelling you towards knowledge, never guaranteeing you'll arrive? Not to forget or to unlearn, but to be in the state opposite that of knowing. To me, Playdead's Inside is about the experience of unknowing. It's about the anticipation of a mystery yet unsolved, the dread of something horrible yet to come. And I know that feeling deep in my bones. Inside was released in 2016 by the Danish game company Playdead. Their debut game, LIMBO, was a runaway hit upon its release in 2010. LIMBO and Inside are mechanically very similar. They're both side-scrolling puzzle platformers where a young child explores a hostile world and dies gruesomely and repeatedly, a playstyle the developers have described as trial and death. Both games are concerned with the dreadful and horrific, but they approach them with different styles and stories. LIMBO is a gritty, expressionist noir set in a bleak forest, and Inside is a sterile, desaturated journey into the depths of a mysterious facility. The title looms in the very first frame of the game in a gaunt, modern font, tall and imposing, all caps. It's a striking dark red, almost maroon, blood-like. Even the word itself contains tension. Inside is a preposition, which expresses the relationship between subjects. They were talking about me. They pointed at me. The dogs are running after me. They're right behind me. Prepositions mean little on their own. They only have meaning insofar as they relate to a subject. The title is left dangling. Inside what? And what's inside? The questions begin piling up as soon as you begin. Where am I? Why is this young boy alone in a forest? Who are those people with flashlights? Why are they shooting at him? The game utilizes tropes to quickly establish the setting. This is a top-secret facility. A shadowy organization doesn't want the truth exposed, and they'd rather kill a child than let their secrets see the light of day. There's something you need to discover, but it's just ahead, beyond the next wall. But the deeper you immerse yourself in the facility, you realize there may be a good reason for the endless walls and rooms. It's shielding the outside world from something within. As you progress through the game, the questions compound, but it keeps the answers obscured. It denies you the security of comprehension. It takes the tension of unknowing, the disturbance of the unresolved, and extracts it from the unseen spaces of our unconscious minds, rendering it as an eerie, isolated, bleak world. The seeds of dread are sown by the sparse and brooding sound design and score. When the game starts, everything you hear is so close and intimate. The sounds of footsteps crunching on leaves, the distant pattering of rain, the panting of the child as he runs away. But as you enter the facility, the sounds become echoey, cavernous, and the synthesizers swell to enormous proportions, contrasting the richness of the outside world with the sterility and expansiveness of the inside. The game's composers, Martin Stig Andersen and Sus Gunvar Ribberg, utilize synthesizers to emulate the feel of B horror movies. And to add a haunting analog quality to the score, they even routed the synth sounds through a real human skull. Andersen said in a 2015 interview,
"I'd already been playing around with a real human skull in order to create bone-conducted sound. I made a workflow of processing synth sounds through the skull using audio transducers and contact microphones, and then restoring them. The result has a somber, chill quality, and as in the aforementioned film scores, haunting tones often contrast with something horrible taking place. My goal is that, like a siren song, the gloomy, faint echoes of synth will coax the player forward, to whatever end."
An extract is a pure essence, reduced to a liquid, removed from its original context, now more the flavor itself than the substance that produced it. Inside feels like mystery extract. It's reduced to its simplest form, placed on a pedestal, and lit from above, so you can experience it in an isolated context, and most importantly, examine your own reaction to it. The story itself is fascinating, but to me, it feels secondary to the emotions the game evokes. By deprioritizing the story against other creative elements, it seems to pull the curtain aside, giving the player more room to meditate on that tension, to look directly at the beating heart at its core. As the mystery unravels and grows in scope, it suspends the player in a state of unknowing. As you learn more, you do not gain a better grasp on the world. You learn how much more you don't know. Though the story and gameplay are both linear, your understanding does not follow the same trajectory. The journey ahead of you feels like it's constantly extending. It feels like your comprehension remains hovering at 25%. The experience was never about the answer. It was always about how it feels to steep in the question, to stay mired in it, to be consumed by it. And the gameplay style excels in keeping you there. Playdead describes the game as 2.5D. Though it feels vast and expansive and three-dimensional, you can never explore the Z-axis. Your movement is restrained, forward, backward, up, or down. It makes your actions feel almost predestined. You are always going to reach the end. You're being pulled toward it. At the core of this ever-expanding mystery, is a thing that defies understanding. It's almost Lovecraftian the way its horror stems from the lack of comprehension. It feels like it cannot be conceived of by the mind of the perceiver. To see it is not to understand it, it is to grapple with it. Unknowing. It's at once a breakthrough in experimental biology, an abomination, a superweapon. It feels as if it should have never been created. The scientists and the personnel surrounding it observe it with curiosity and fear, recognizing both its humanity and its requisite lack. It's never officially named, it's just this. What do you call this? This fleshy ball of limbs, an unholy amalgam of human beings, sacrificed in the name of progress? This is the embodiment of mystery. It is the potential energy of the unknowable. That magnetic force pulling us further and further, deeper and deeper. That insatiable curiosity spurred by the hunger for discovery. It leads us to a thing we cannot understand, cannot reason with. A power we try to harness at the nexus of our power over it and its power over us. A noun begging to become a verb. And at the climax, the young boy jumps into the tank and swims down to it. He removes its tethers, the monitors, the things keeping it contained. And intentionally or not, it consumes him. He becomes one with it. And as you, the player, once controlled the boy, you now control it. The blob swims towards the glass, and the researchers begin to run. They know what happens next. It breaks the window with terrifying ease. It obliterates the walls that kept us separate from it, the walls that kept us ignorant or at least safe. This brutal force is no longer a theory or a curiosity, it is now an unavoidable reality. The exposing of the heart of the mystery brings with it flooding, fire, destruction. It kills any human that dares to restrain it. And finally, it makes its way outside. It returns to nature, settling in a warm sunbeam. The unknowing is finally at rest. Finally, it is known. I first played this game in January 2021. I started it on an airplane, wearing an N95 mask and a plastic face shield. I was hesitant about traveling at all, terrified I could be unknowingly spreading a deadly virus. Over the course of 2020, our capacity to hold space for the unknown was forced to grow.
Thousands of passengers on that cruise ship are stuck at sea.
And right here in New York, thousands of people are self-quarantining. A 12th fatality has now been reported here in the United States. And at this hour, the number of cases topping 200.
We all were served a million unanswered questions, which compounded into one massive weight. We were required to become acquainted with, if not comfortable with, that lack, that incessant tugging on our sleeve. For the first few weeks, nobody knew how it was transmitted. We sanitized all surfaces, wiped down door handles, cleaned our groceries, doing anything we could to stop it. As we learned more, we started wearing masks. There were precious few things we could be certain about. Most terrifyingly, we couldn't reliably know if we even had it in our bodies. It could already be inside, multiplying, just not yet to the threshold at which it can be observed. We thought things might be back to normal within 3 weeks, then 3 months, then 6 months, and now that we're through the worst of it, we still don't know if it will ever truly be over. Sometimes the unknown was preferable. I pretty quickly stopped seeking out news about casualties. The answers wouldn't help me cope. So I took walks, called friends, and played video games to help me reclaim my agency, to take my mind off that constant tugging at my sleeve. Conspiracy theories offer clean explanations for inexplicable horrors. They'll say it's all caused by a secret organization pulling the strings behind the scenes. In some cases, they point to a messianic figure who holds the answers, who is to be trusted, who can save us from the lies. It's fascinating to me that the plot of Inside implements many common conspiracy theory tropes. Top secret research, violence against children, otherworldly creatures, human experimentation. It almost takes place inside the essence of a conspiracy. The world is complicated and often incongruous, yet conspiracy theories offer black and white stories. The villains are clear, the deception is intentional, and the contradictions are explicable. The truth exists, but they don't want you to have it. Our minds crave understanding, and when we can't have it, it's hard to feel at peace. So we often turn to answers we can grasp, even when they're wrong, even when they hurt us. We will do almost anything to understand, because that which we do not grasp is a threat. Knowledge will save us. Once we arrive, we will know, and we will be safe. Or so it feels. But what if unknowing is the destination? Because sometimes there are questions that don't have clear answers. Sometimes the questions are too big or existential that the pursuit of truth only leads you deeper, further down, further inside. The gameplay of Inside creates a space for the player to become comfortable with that yearning for understanding. For us to focus on the puzzle in front of us and become acquainted with that magnetic pull towards mystery. In an increasingly uncertain world, I find this eerie, haunting little game reassuring. Getting swept up in the maximalism of a grand conspiracy for a few hours, putting myself in the shoes of a defenseless child just trying to get to the next room, it addresses the parts of my subconscious that harbor an unspeakable dread, that feel powerless and afraid. It helps me see them fully, know them better, and make my peace with them. It gives me the chance to sit and practice unknowing, and to practice dying and persevering in spite of all the things I unknow, to keep striving forward towards the unknowable core. And perhaps, if we work together, to the place where we will all be together, outside of the things that can find us, lying in a sunbeam. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this analysis, click like, and if you want to stay eternally mired in unknowing, subscribe. Let me know in the comments what this game means to you, because I honestly think it can mean a lot of different things to different people, and I'm curious to hear how it affected you. Also, I just started a Patreon. You can get your name in the credits, get access to music live streams, have me write you a song, and at the $10 a month tier, you can see a bonus video I made as a companion to this one about the symbolism of labor and human experimentation in Inside. The researchers at the lab are attempting to find a way to utilize the labor of human beings without the inconvenience of their humanity. Without their personalities, their opinions, their needs, their desires. Their bodies are alienated, abstracted from themselves. And at the center of it all, the researchers are studying the logical next step, the power of the collective. My next video is going to be on one of my favorite films, a critical darling, an absurdist masterpiece. That's right, I'm going to be talking about Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again. See you next time.